So we're like, cool, let's just showcase slam, let's showcase the festivals, let's showcase Word and Sound Awards. Let's tell the different stories that have brought us here. I got to see a lot of people when they were coming up, when they were still hot, fire in their belly. A lot of people were still building. There was still a lot of live bands. So there was still a lot of inspiration to look up to. And I felt that gave me something. People took risks. People put their livelihoods, their dreams, a lot on the line, right? And we had the duty to go back to that and restart.
Open mic should not be that long.
But there were poets there were comedians, there were singers, It was, I think, the one space that I was overwhelmed. Looking back at it now, I was overwhelmed. And I think more than anything, trying to not impress, but just get respect of the people who had come before us. Because I think now it's easy to forget that we were handed over something important. And a massive generation, an important generation handed that over. And we needed to do something with it. We don't have a lot of institutions that are 10 years and older. We don't have platforms or just brands that have 25, 30 years as cultural brands, as institutions. We're still paying for Word and Sound, whether, and in hindsight, thank God we paid for Word and Sound rather than government paying for Word and Sound or some other interest, because it gave us the freedom to do what we wanted. It gave us the freedom not to be controlled or restricted. You have to have a poet there because they are not entertainment. They are the message. You have to shed your ego and go through a whole reincarnation of how else you can apply your skills. Poetry saved my life by making that sort of expansion. Otherwise, I could still write poems, and then what? You know what I mean? A lot of time it's easy to put on the music, the dance, the nice venue, but the poet brings that, that core. You also realize how many opportunities you have in your country until you step out of the country. I think you take a lot for granted until you are in a space where there's a lot more that is not plug and play, that you have to build from scratch, that forces you to think differently. I think what I've cherished the most is being able to be a parent. Everything starts in the household. We don't have a strong household if you and I are not together, if you and I are not getting along, if you and I are not best friends. How are we going to raise these kids? Leadership is not a grand thing that you do. It's the simple everyday choices that I found that you have to make and show up for your family. And, this mindset around what being a man is and, that's gone. That doesn't work. I feel like we're at the worst part of masculinity and manning. Nobody wants to man anymore. So that excites me every day. Those two girls are literally crazy, crazy, crazy. So every day is an adventure.